Right. So, I have had a big, thorough playthrough of Sandland at this point. I beat the main story. I've done most of the side quests, I'm pretty sure. I've done most of them. As all the main quests, these side quests have just popped up. These are all the side quests I've actually done. Jesus waffle, can I actually show how much time I've played? It says 50 hours there. I'm going to say, including today as well, probably 55 hours, something like that, roughly, of this game. And I could keep going at this rate. I've been casually playing it. The one complaint that I remember in my previous video on this, which was basically just a first impressions, if you want to check that out, you can. I can link that. But mainly, that was just a quick, first impressions. And one of my complaints there was I wasn't sure if this was going to be kind of bare bones or kind of a short game, including the side quests. Unless you consider 50 hours short. I'm not sure about replayability. There is a difficulty, and I was playing most of this on normal. I ended up chucking it on hard because I was starting to find it a little easy. And hard, now I'm finding some missions difficult. I'm dying a couple times, but it's a bit forgiving in regards to checkpoints and stuff like that. So if you want to have a bit more of a challenge, I personally don't see much harm in just playing it on the hardest difficulty to start out with, because you can always just come into the menu here and just change it on the fly. So, yeah, you're not going to have a big issue there. One thing I never checked out was the Japanese dubbing, but as an English speaker, in my opinion, I'm convinced I would already like it. And the English dubbing is okay. Some of the voices can be a little unbearable, but it's almost like they kind of scripted to do that. Like the main villain has a very loud, obnoxious voice, and some of the side characters are very squealy. But there's only so much you can do, and you can kind of tell that some of the cast is being reused. But some of the cast is really, really bloody good. Especially the main characters, I would argue, and the people related to the main characters. Yes, hello, yes, I still am online. I'm just doing a quick breakdown before I dip. But overall, I liked the game. I don't know if I'd be comfortable paying full price, but that's just because I almost never pay full price for a game. In saying that, I have enjoyed my time with this game. I'm going to be playing this very likely after, even though I've beaten the main story. I want to do all the main quests still. Sorry, not the main quest, sorry. I want to finish off the side quests and see what happens after that. I've upgraded the town here to quite a big state, whatever. Enormous proportions! I still never really found too much of use. I don't remember if I discovered the home option of decorating your own home in the first impressions or not. But in my opinion, I did not find a use for that whatsoever. Yes, it was kind of fun to decorate, but it serves no purpose whatsoever. Upgrading the town does, because doing more side quests rewards you with more convenience. So, you do enough quests and the craftsman can craft better gear for you. Or you can get better furniture for your home. But again, for your home in particular, it doesn't really serve any purpose aside from check out my digs, yo. Customizing your vehicle kind of makes sense, because that's what you're going to be running around with, getting XP and crushing other people and gaining more parts to upgrade that and customize it further. That helps. I wish they just kind of scrapped the whole home system and the whole home customization, and they allowed you to customize the town itself, because the town is the thing that gives you that quality of life. So if they let you maybe just change the buildings up instead, change the colors of buildings, or maybe introduce a uniform to the villages and stuff like that. I'm not saying I have the right answers here. I'm just saying I did not see any purpose in the actual home. And you don't even, really get to show it off, to the other townspeople and stuff, neither. It's just kind of locked behind the garage here and just sitting back here. And just, yeah, you can come in and it's cool, and you got 3 rooms and everything as well, but, there's just not much. It's a tiny little box like this. You can't increase the size neither. You can't really play any games or stuff in here. It's just all scenery stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. I just thought there was kind of a They could have taken that effort and put it into more customization. Speaking of customization, the quests themselves. The main quest and the main story is alright. As mentioned before, it just kind of felt like a Fallout story. There's no water. You gotta find water. And in this kind of post-apocalyptic world, blah, blah, humans are kind of bad and they suck. It's a very G-rated Dragonball sort of take on like a Fallout post-apocalyptic scenario. And I like that as like a Toriyama fan. However, it can feel a little cringe when your character is like trying to act all evil and stuff, being like, oh yeah, when I go to sleep, I don't brush my teeth. And then this war vet next to you is like, yeah, I've killed a lot of people. I'm not proud of it, but I did. And you're just sitting there like, that's cool, but I'm better. And yeah. But I don't mind it. I understand it's supposed to be cheesy and on the nose sort of thing in regards to that stuff. The mech system, I believe, is what carries it. I thought I might get a little bored. I do feel like some of the customization could be worked on. For example, when you want to upgrade a weapon or something like that, I don't know, upgrade vehicle. Let's try upgrade vehicle. But you can manually upgrade individual weapons as well, which is nice, or craft your own individual weapons. If you want to do something like chip slots are things that you can use to add additional buffs to them, but your vehicle here, how you got super hard panther alloy. You then got to go get that. If you want, you can go run to the store and go try to find some. But the problem with that is there's no way to kind of like wish list that item. You've just got to sort of write it down or remember. Not too hard if it's just one item. But then if you've got a big list, I'm not sure if I can show you an example of that. Let's just pretend I didn't have any of those items there where my head is over here. Sorry, don't mind the banana. Where my head is here. If I didn't have half of those items, I then have to write all of that down. And a lot of these items are very, very similar. See, a super hard Croctor alloy, super hard Scorptor alloy, and then there's like basic Croctor alloy, or basic Snakeator, or basic Snake alloy. Like, it can get very jarring and confusing trying to remember all these things. I wish they just kind of had a way where, like, to automate it, to be like, oh, hey, you want this, and you've upgraded your town enough to the point where, say, hey, she'll just, if you give her some money or give her the parts from here, she'll just immediately give them to you, and you can keep building, you know, to stop, because it's stopping the flow, you know, of being able to just continue to upgrade and get in there. But I feel like not being able to, like, having to just write all this stuff down and memorize all these little things, and then not knowing specifically if they've actually got it, and it can slow the process down. I'm not saying I don't like the customization. I'm saying this is good, but it can be better. So it's not crap, it could just be better. I would just like it to be a little bit more streamlined. It kind of reminds me of Chrome Hounds in that sense, where it's really trying to go for this. Chrome Hounds isn't more of, I think it was an Xbox 360 mech game. And it's good. I like the mechs. I recently have been watching a bit of the anime as well. I don't think I can show any footage of that, unfortunately. And the anime, as well, is something that I think is alright, and I think that's a good step if you want to maybe watch that, because that's free. I believe it's on Disney Plus. I don't know if it's on anything else. And then if you enjoy that, then you can maybe jump to this game and be like, okay, cool. And there are some differences. They mainly just cut out the mechs in regards to that story, but you get some insider stuff. And yeah, like, it's got some cool little Toriyama Easter eggs. Like, the bot here kind of looks like some of the designs that the Red Ribbon Army would use. They straight up have a Red Ribbon Army robot later in the game. Stuff like that. I'm not sure if there's anything else to really mention big-wise. I'm just checking my notes real quick. The side-scrolling bits in the game, there's bits where they make you they force you out of your vehicle, and they make you run sort of in a side-scrolling fashion like this, and having to jump around and maneuver over blocks and stuff. That's fine on paper, but a lot of the times they just kind of push you out of your mech for no reason. There's no explanation. When in reality, it would be a lot easier for you to get around in your mech in those situations. And they give you the mechs, and they encourage you to upgrade them and do this, and then they just pull you out for no reason. If you can't get through a door, for example, they'll let you 9 times out of 10 get through if you just get a small enough mech and you can jump through or ride through or whatever. But no, in these special side-scrolling bits, even though there's nothing blocking your mech or whatever, nah, we gotta force you out. You gotta do this on your feet. Why? I don't know. I feel like they could have just... It wouldn't have been a good excuse, but they at least could have tried to, like, bullshit it by being like, oh, well, hey, there's a magnetic field here that stops you from using your mech. It stops it from working. That still would have been dumb, but at least then it's got a bit of an explanation and you kind of know what's coming. It's, oh, okay. And then they can build around that. Be like, oh, okay, they're forcing me out of my mech, so I got to get ready. I'm going to have to do some proper fist fighting and stuff with the character. The fist fighting as well was okay. I feel like it could have been a bit better, but it worked. Once you get those higher upgrades, you're pretty much set in regards to typical combat or boss fights. The boss fights were good. I thought they were okay. Some of them were a little tedious, but most of them, I would argue, were fairly fun. And they would sort of encourage you, especially near the end, they would encourage you to try different techniques or swap back and forth between your mechs. The leveling system, I was worried I wouldn't end up maxing out my dudes. I pretty much only maxed out my dudes by the end of my final stream on this game here. I'm looking at the XP bar though, actually. It doesn't look like he's full, but I have enough skill points. So maybe his actual level is 30. I believe looking up somewhere, the max level was 30. I think same thing with the mechs as well. But either way, like level 25, all these guys are maxed out. I didn't even need half of this to win. But on hard, you might find it a little tricky. It's got different ways to play. He's more for collecting, more for repairing mechs, and he is more for just sort of assisting you in combat. I think the only other thing I kind of wanted to mention was my gripe with one of the quests. Sorry, Sassy. You like Risa May or Biels? I mean, yeah, I like them. I like those characters. Yeah, they're basically characters involving in Sandland. The main voice casts were great, as mentioned. I thought they were pretty cool. The twists and stuff in regards to the story, too. It was alright. I liked it. I wish we got some more feedback on the other kind of character that they introduced. I won't say it here in case it sort of spoils it. But, yes. The only other kind of mild gripe that I wanted to mention was some of the side quests. They can be very jarring. It can start to feel kind of like the same over and over again when you've done enough. But I didn't feel too bored. But I feel like that's because of the mechs. If you just used your tank and that was it, I feel like you're going to get bored really fast with this game. You kind of have to invest in experimenting with tanks and... experimenting with the other mechs and fooling around with them. And that'll be pretty easy if you do a side quest here and there, or even do a bounty quest here and there, which is just one of your easy ways to get cash and, like, some special materials. However, in regards to quests, they're going to push you to do side quests so you can upgrade this town and get more convenience and stuff. But some of these quests can be weird and very jarring, because, for example, one of the earlier quests, for example, it might be hard for me to paint a picture, but they wanted you to rescue a girl, okay? And of course he has to think of a bad way to do it, because I'm evil, I'm bad. And he goes to try and rescue this girl. The girl's friend follows us, but without us knowing. These bandits are like, no, you can't have her back. She owes us money. You pay us the money. They ask for like $1 million. They don't know $1 million. And they give you two choices. They say, okay, you either pay the $1 million. So yeah, you pay them, but you tell them, I'm not going to pay the $1 million. That's ridiculous. Yes, exactly. That was my favorite quest. Thank you for pointing that out. It was my favorite bloody quest. And so you say you'll pay, but you're not going to pay them $1 million. You pay them the 10 grand that they actually owe. Or you flat out refuse, because you could just beat them up. And you've always been beating up bandits before. Now, I'm going to spoil this quest here, because it's not that big thing. It's just a side quest anyway. If you don't want to be spoiled for a random side quest, then skip 2 minutes or something. But In this quest, if you refuse to pay them, the woman that follows you dies because you beat them up and they get aggressive and they're, oi, we're going to get you back for this. And you save the other girl, but the other one dies in the process. That's fine. This is a natural consequence. I understand that. However, if you choose to pay them, but you're saying, look, I'm not paying you the money you want. I'm going to pay you $10,000, barely anything you asked for. They're like, no, that's not what we agreed on. Grr, I'm mad. And then you fight them anyway. And in this scenario, both scenarios, choosing to fight them or choosing to pay them a small amount, both results in a fight. But when you choose to pay them and they still get mad and you fight them, they then don't get angry at you and vow for revenge. They get upset. And they're like, oh no, please don't hurt us. We forgive you and then we won't pursue. We're sorry. And so that lady doesn't die in the process and both of them are happy. That to me was a poorly written quest because it was like a cop-out in the sense that, oh, we wanted you to pick the good answer. Because then in that way, you didn't have to actually pay anything. It was a cop-out, in my opinion. It was a cop-out quest. And like, it was like, in all scenarios, that same thing should have still happened. If that, both sides still ended up in that person dying, whatever. I just thought it was a bit of a cop-out quest. But then, you get some really good quests! So I'm not saying all the quests are bad. Not all the quests are bad. One of them was really good. It was a random quest where, like, leaving it mildly vague, there was a quest where a little girl wanted you to go find their dad, and then the dad's like, I don't want to come back. My wife is dead, and everything is hell. I barely even know that person. I just want to die. Just leave me here in this cave to die. And then you have an option. It's like, do you let this do you respect this person's wishes and let him die? Or do you say, no, you gotta be there for this person, and I'm gonna help you through it. And then if you honor his feelings, then I think you can figure out what may or may not happen. But then if you choose not to honor his feelings, something else entirely happens. And then you get a whole different quest line going on. It arcs around and does different things. That's not a cop-out. There was consequences one way or the other. So I was jarred at that point. I'm like, what? What? Are you giving me tedious quests that don't make sense? Or are you giving me good written quests? And by the way, the side characters even there were voice acted pretty well. So if you do a side quest or two and they're weird, I would ask you to maybe steady the course and keep looking for the other side quests, because some of them are actually fairly good. Even that last side quest that I did in this game, where it was basically a rehash of a battle that we already did, but it was a lot harder, and it was a good way to grind for tank materials. But yeah, I'm not going to say all the side quests are good, but some of them are pretty decent. I liked them, overall. The good outweighed the bad, in my opinion, but the bad was still fairly questionable. Other than that, it sounds like I'm kind of tearing this game apart, but I would not have been spending 55-ish hours on this game if I thought it was bad. It was a review copy, but again, I wouldn't have spent all this time if I didn't actually enjoy the game. I would have just, did a stream or two and then called it a day. I don't know how many bloody streams I've done. What, 55 divided by 4, roughly. Someone could do the math on that. Anyway, I think that's all the main things. The dialogue. Yeah, the only other thing I think is about that. Story, money, yep. I think that's really the only thing, and it's not really a secret, is that the dialogue in the game itself, when you're traveling around in the desert, you're going to be constantly hearing them say the same thing. They will try to vary it up, especially when you're in different areas, like a cave or something, so I appreciate the effort. But it would be nice to have an option in the menu maybe somewhere that you could just turn off chatter. So for some people who find it annoying, or turn off the option if you've already heard it. Something like that, or make it rarer to hear things, or maybe only hear it once when you go into a certain area. I don't know. I don't have a good way to fix this, aside from maybe adding more chatter or less in it or something. I'm just saying it's not just me who's mentioned that one. Even people who have watched me on stream have mentioned that too. Other than that, I think I've babbled long enough. Holy crap, that was a big, long chatter. It's a good game. I, as a Toriyama fan, do not regret spending my time on this. I'm going to spend more time on this. And I would recommend it if you enjoy sort of an anime sort of based open world exploration game. Basic leveling systems. Pretty, like, fairly intricate mech system. Not too complicated. Just a little annoying to get through sometimes, but good. Good. I would say it's fun. There's lots of different mechs. I didn't even touch on half the mechs I was able to make. These are just some of my favorites that I got through. You know, tank is a tank. Make go boom boom. Cricket jump really high. These aren't their official names. These are my names. Copyright trademark. AFK, you could do the math on that one. The Unibola and Battle Armor, you know, they all got their things. You can... There's good stuff here. There's good stuff. I felt like there was a bit of a cop-out at the end. They were sort of teasing that you could get, like, a plane or something at the end, but correct me if I'm wrong. Someone could let me know in the comments or something. I don't think you can get a plane. There's no bloody way you can get a plane. That'd be pretty cool, though, if you could. But, alright. That's it. I've babbled enough. If I missed something, I'm sure it wasn't that important. But, yes, I recommend the game. Get it on sale. If you find it on a decent sale, snatch it. And a game like this, I reckon after, I don't know, a couple months, a year or so, you'll be able to snag this in a good deal. Or, again, watch the anime first, if you want. And then let that help you be the judge if you're more of a fan of story and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I can't quote it on the Japanese dubbing. I'll have to see if I can switch that around later and have a listen, but I'm sure I would like it. But alright, cool, that's it. That's it. I'll stop bothering you with tediousness on that front. Bye-bye.
Then it's settled.
We'll be waiting for you in Spino. Don't be long, dear.
Jesus, alright, well, he's got something nice to go back to. Goddamn! Goddamn! Be for lucky boy! I mean, he's not a boy, he's a demon, but goddamn! Hi, thanks for watching. Feel free to follow me on YouTube or the bell, whatever the hell you do there. I also have Twitter if you want to see more updates, or my Discord. We also do game nights at the Discord as well, usually 10 AM, Sydney Australian time, that sort of thing. I also stream on Twitch. That's also roughly 10 AM Sydney Australian time. That's Fridays, usually for streaming, and the weekend, usually for gaming. And other than that, I've got my Humble links, and my Green Man Gaming affiliate links, if you want some nice deals on some video games. And also thank you to my lovely patrons, which I will show along the walls here. And thank you. Have a nice one. Bye. For those of you curious, this is who appears on the stream sometimes. Look at him! He's dumpy! But stop asking. He's too big. I can't do anything with him. But he looks good in a hat.